tourneys in Westeros are primarily a form of sport and tests of skill, but are often still bloody affairs. The tourneys' rules vary according to the region in which they are held, the desires of the hosting lord, and the rules devised by the lord's master of games. They are often held to celebrate a marriage, births, and coming of ages. Many forms of competition are known to be included in tourneys include jousting, mock battles between teams of knights, archery competitions, or the melee, which many warriors fight individually or in one large battle. Tourneys can be small events focusing on one competition held on a single day, or they can be large events that take several days and may include several different competitions. The central event of many Westerosi tourneys is jousting, in which two armoured knights aim to knock each other off their mounts with the jousting lance, continuing on foot with a variety of blunted weapons. The loser of the joust must often forfeit his horse and armour to the winner, thus jeopardising a considerable part of his possession. While this form of combat, by far the most popular, standalone single one-on-one combat with weapons of the knight's choosing are also very popular and just as deadly. Many tourneys pit pairs of warriors in rounds, where the loser is eliminated and the winner proceeds to the next, until one is ultimately declared champion. There are many tourneys that stand out in the pages of history, but some often get overlooked in their significance and the ways in which they would ultimately play out. One of these tourneys was the wedding tourney of Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, heir to King Viserys, and her betrothed, Prince Rhaenyra Targaryen. The events that happened on the tourney field directly fed into the animosity that fueled the bloody Targaryen civil war, the Dance of the Dragons, and shows just how a petty squabble between High Lords can often lead to open war and to the deaths of thousands. The complex situation that preceded the marriage of Rhaenyra and Laenor would fuel the dark events that would occur at their wedding. You have the rumoured relationship between Ser Criston Cole, the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, and Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, which, depending on the sources you believe, ended shortly before the wedding due to Rhaenyra spurning Cole's suggestion of marriage and running away, while some also claim it was Cole who rejected Rhaenyra's advances, leading her into the arms of Harwin Strong, who would later become her own sworn protector. No matter what series of events you believed, it created a situation at the wedding tourney wherein Rhaenyra was now married to Rhaenyra Targaryen, with her supposed new lover Sir Harwin Strong in her retinue, and later becoming her sworn shield. Sir Harwin would of course enter the tourney, along with the favourite and rumoured lover of Rhaenyra Targaryen, Sir Joffrey Longmouth. It is said that when Princess Rhaenyra bestowed her favour on Sir Harwin, Laenor also bestowed his on Sir Joffrey, with the two newlyweds laughing as they did. Ser Criston Cole. It was noted by all in attendance that the former sworn shield of the princess was now being given the favour of Queen Alicent Hightower, with Cole seemingly now part of the Green faction at court. Regardless of what version of events regarding the relationship between Cole and Rhaenyra you believe, it was clear to all that now the Kingsguard knight bore nothing but resentment towards her. The young Lord Commander of the Kingsguard defeated all challengers, fighting in a black fury like many had never seen of him before. He was always a talented fighter and one of the best knights in the realm, but now his combat had a new level of ferocity to it. He left Sir Harwin Strong with a broken collarbone and a shattered elbow, much to the anger of Princess Rhaenyra. In truth, the fight between the two was barely even that. But it was the Knight of Kisses, Sir Joffrey Longmouth, who felt the fullest measure of his wrath. Ser Criston Cole's favourite weapon was a Morning Star, a weapon many knights were not used to defending themselves against. Cole rained down on Sir Laenor's champion relentlessly, hitting his foe so hard during his final blow that it cracked Sir Joffrey's ornate steel helm and left him senseless in the mud. There was a hush in the crowd as Sir Joffrey was carried off on a stretcher, bloody and broken, to the horror of the bride and groom. Sir Joffrey Longmouth died without recovering consciousness 6 days later. It is said that Sir Laenor spent every hour of those days at his bedside and wept bitterly when the stranger claimed him, and hated Ser Criston Cole for the rest of his days. King Viserys himself was most wroth as well. A joyous celebration had become the occasion of grief and recrimination. It was said that Queen Alicent did not share his displeasure. Soon after, she had asked that Ser Criston Cole be made her personal protector. The coldness between the king's wife and the king's daughter was now plain for all to see. Even the envoys from the free cities noted of it in letters sent back to Pentos, Bravos, and Olvalantis. Rhaenyra Targaryen would return to Driftmark thereafter, leaving many to wonder if his marriage to Rhaenyra had even been consummated. The princess remained at court, surrounded by her friends and admirers. Ser Criston Cole was not amongst them, having now gone over entirely to the Queen's party, the Greens. But the massive and redoubtable Sir Harwin had filled his place at Rhaenyra's side, becoming the foremost of the Blacks. He was at Rhaenyra's side, at feasts, balls and hunts. Her husband raised no objections to this, and in many ways encouraged it. Sir Lionel preferred the comforts of Hightide and Driftmark, where he soon found a new favourite in a household knight named Sir Carl Corey. At the time of the event of this minor tourney, while looked back on with bitterness, it would not be until after the Dance of the Dragons, when looking back at it in the context of the war, you can see how the events that transpired, how it deepened the divide between the Blacks and the Greens, even further, with some even suggesting that in a way, the deaths of this tourney could be seen as the first deaths of the dance.